Well, great question. Thank you, and good morning. It's certainly a concern. I think the concern goes more towards the confidence in the government. We're seeing this around the world. UK, we're having difficulties in government. US, difficulties in the government. Italy, France. That's the bigger issue. The economic effects of the shutdown so far haven't been terribly dramatic. If it continues for weeks on end, it will be. It'll slow down SEC filings, certainly a humanistic toll on the people who work for the government. So I think the bigger issue is just the lack of confidence it brings to the people of the United States.
And I think going forward, the concern is this going to be just a picture of what's in store for the year ahead in terms of the stalemate in Washington, the back and forth between the Republicans and Democrats on this? Since you have advised President Trump previously, what would you advise him on this?
Get back to work with the Democrats and try and keep the economy in the good position that it's been in. To be quite honestly, from a policy perspective, as the U.S. has been leading the world in growth from a developed market standpoint, and we need to have that, especially with China growing. And so the government being closed will not help that. Obviously, there's both sides at the table here. The Democrats are going to come out newly control of the House, and they're going to want to show what they're interested in. We're coming up to an election. So we're not going to be surprised if there's a lot of, as you said, stalemate, but we really got to make sure that the policies continue to be pro-growth.
And as we are in this late-stage cycle, there are concerns that the U.S. tax cuts, the fiscal stimulus are already fading. Is that your impression?
I don't know about fading. Actually, I think the tax cuts, we really haven't even seen the great significance of them yet, because the supply chains that will have to change in order to bring the investment back to the U.S. take years to happen. The trade issues have put a little uncertainty around where to invest right now, so it's slowed down decision making. Clearly, you won't have the stimulus we had from the liquidity from the tax cuts and the spending last year, so we are seeing a slowing in growth. But I'll tell you, we've gone from excessive optimism to excessive pessimism, in my view, because we are still seeing a very strong U.S. economy right now.
So do you think the pessimism has gone too far, that perhaps people are even pricing in the markets as well, too much pessimism?
Well, people are following the news feeds as opposed to what's going on in the core underlying economics right now is what's happening. We're still seeing 5 quarters of double-digit growth in a row for profits, for example. We're still talking about a 2.5+% increase in GDP in the United States, which over the last 10 years is one of the strongest. So I think what we're doing is kind of talking ourselves into uncertainty, which is clearly out there from the geopolitical perspective. But from an economic perspective, we're still seeing very strong fundamentals.